Hello and welcome everybody to the stream. How's it going? Today we have a special guest, Infi coming on, and our interpreter Nebulas. Let's jump into it. Infi, welcome to the stream. Hi. Nebulas, thanks for interpreting for us. I had some easy English conversations with Infi before this, but it's going to be super useful as we talk about some of the things really that just excite the Warcraft community, things we want to be talking about. We need to go a bit further into detail sometimes. So, Infi, it's cool because you and I, we used to be rivals, we used to be friends, we played a lot of tournaments, but then for many years, for a couple of years, we didn't see much of each other. And I used to go to China a lot for tournaments, but then that kind of stopped. And you went to international tournaments, but our paths really crossed again when you started to play on W3 Champions. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Okay, so Infi mentioned the recent 2 times when he meet Grubby in person is one is the Old Legends Cup or tournament, and another is the ESL StarCraft 2 games. So he really missed these days. He wish we can have more global or worldwide games and not the online game, just the lane game, so he can meet each other.
I wish the same thing. Actually, if I can be a little sentimental, I know Infi and I, we've both played a lot of tournaments, and from my experience, I've played many different tournaments, but one of my favorite memories of all time of playing Warcraft 3 was when Infi started to play on W3C, and we would meet each other on ladder over the course of different days, over the course of different weeks. I kept looking forward to these moments because although we can't easily communicate by words, I felt like I was able to see inside the mind of Infi a little bit with the way that he kept changing his strategies and so on.
Because he really admired the game style you choose on the tournament or in the games. It really not depends on the micro, but tries to develop different strategies against the different races. But players always admire each other. It's pretty fun.
Same. So recently, we've started to see some changes. Blizzard has started to slowly look at doing little updates again for Warcraft 3 about the 1.33 PTR. My question is, has any of that news trickled down to the platform where the Chinese players play, NetEase Battle Platform? Have they had a chance to try out the PTR as well? And is it going to influence them? Are they playing on the same version of Warcraft 3?
Okay, so to the 1.33 patch itself, it doesn't make any changes in the game to Infi, but from the platform, and because in China there's no PTR servers, so people cannot have access to the latest patch. But from the NetEase and WC Champions, Infi mentioned the map pools are totally different, so it's a bit hard for the Chinese players to prepare for the tournaments based on the maps difference.
That makes sense. Do players like Infi and the rest of the players have any influence on the map pool that is being represented on the Chinese playing platform, NetEase Battle Platform?
So basically, Infi said the Chinese map pool stopped updated after the last ESL tournament, so it's like 2 or 3 seasons behind current European ladder. And personally, Infi prefers to play like Sacred Valley, EI 2.0, and Lost Sand Temples. He prefers to play these bigger maps on the latter games.
That's interesting. Let's get a little bit into details now. We might be going off topic, but truly there is no one topic tonight. Let's go a little bit granular. Echo Isles, Infi said he likes new EI. Can he articulate why or what he likes about it?
Okay, so he's basically compared to EI, the original EI version. that EI was used for like more than 15 years. That's old, and it's very imbalanced.
Yeah.
But for EI 2.0, he hasn't played many games on it. Cannot say the balance issue, but with the gold, the more gold mine on the map, he can probably try different strategies, and it's pretty fun to develop strategies and details on this map. So that's why he's willing to play this map. But he cannot detail say this is good or that's good. He hasn't figured it out, but he will definitely put into some effort to figure out this map.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I don't have much experience yet, but it's just fun because it's new, right? And maybe some new strategies become possible.
Okay, Infi basically thinks no matter which is balanced or not, if anything new compared to current version of meta adding to this game, it's always do benefits for this 20 years old game.
I agree. New is good. So, on that topic, the game balance, Blizzard didn't make many changes, didn't make any changes for quite some time. And in the past, it was always Blizzard make the game balance. But now maybe Blizzard will never again do game balance. We don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So does Infi think that we should ever take that into our own hands? Take a couple of Western players, take a couple of Asian players, have kind of a committee and take some easy wins, aka changes that many people would agree generally to be good changes to the game. Like if everyone has the same opinion on certain balanced topics, and then we implement those balance changes through maps.
Okay, so basically he learned some similar stuff from the Back to Warcraft from Neil, but he thinks it's a bit hard in the Warcraft community. Like the StarCraft 1 in Korea, that's a pretty they have make some maps to adjust the balance between the three races, but for Warcraft 3, I think it's extremely hard to update the balance through update the map issue.
So by the map change, I guess the way I mostly meant it is that to name an easy example, you could give grunts on W3 Champions map 100 extra health. So it's not changing the layout of the map, but achieving unit balance through the map.
Okay, so basically, if you think it's still impossible, because every top player really do think their race is the most weak one. So if they win the tournament, they put effort in the practice and really performed well in that tournament. So most likely they won't reach agreement on the balance of some units. They of course will think their units is pretty weak, need to into buff. So that's impossible. So in China currently for the domestic tournament, even when you want to add a map or remove a map, it will cause a mass amount of those pro players because different race players. So he has no idea about the Korean situation and the European or America situation, but he said almost impossible in China to make the units balance and adjustments around the maps because or to map itself, adding one or removing one is cause a trouble already.
And that's just the map removal, not like unit balance yet.
Yes.
Right. So I have a solution. See what Infi thinks about it. Pro players, they want to win the prize money with their race. And so they want their race to be strong. But streamers and tournament organizers, they want the healthiest game with 25% winners per race. So isn't it true then that you could trust streamers and tournament organizers more than individual representatives of a singular race?
So basically, he said the first thing is for the streamers. For example, for himself, he's a big streamer in China, but most of his viewers, audience, are human players. So they really want to push Infi to represent human race when to raise ideas for the balance stuff. So he think most of the streamers' ideas on the balance patch won't be very fair. They will still represent the race for themselves. And for some streamers, they only play one race for more than 10 years. They know nothing about the other three races. So, of course, their idea or their suggestion won't be taking other races into consideration. That's still going to be imbalance. Then from the other side, if you want to take some advice from the tournament organizer or from third party. He talked to the Blizzard balance designer a couple of years ago, but what he got is that designer just make balance patch based on the top players level and the price money. So he doesn't think that's the right way to make the balance patch. So it shouldn't be a good way to do the balance stuff or design. And he thinks if the Warcraft can survive for another 10 years or maybe Warcraft 4, when we're doing the updated balance patch, probably we can use the ban pick. So in this patch, we may ban some top human suggestion. Maybe in the next patch, we should pick some humans the balance suggestion. So probably that's what's the idea from the Infi.
First of all, amazing that you remembered all that and interpreted it. You're a real pro.
Thank you.
Secondly, the final part where you said about pick ban. Do you mean pick ban races away like in Age of Empires, or do you mean that balance designer teams at the company, at Blizzard, or should take turns to listen to certain top players as race representatives, or did I misunderstand that?
Okay, basically, Infi says the ban pick is for the race itself. So let's say if we do the ladder games, we can ban the race I don't want to play, and my opponent cannot play it like the mobile games. But it's impossible for current situation. He also mentioned because we only have 4 races right now, and some players really do only play one race, so it's impossible. But he mentioned it's for like if the game can survive for more than another 10 years, we probably add 1 or 2 more races. Or Warcraft 4 coming out, probably adding more stuff into it. Maybe the ban pick will be much better because it really is some imbalanced stuff in current meta, but you can ban it, so the game will be much more balanced.
I see. That's really interesting. And you don't have to interpret this part, but just for the audience that obviously when game developers are not good enough at balancing the game and you accept that they will never get it right, then there's always going to be like one race that's going to be a little bit stronger than others. And therefore, the only way you can solve it is ban pick. And some games do that, like Infi and the interpreter brought up mobile games where ban pick is the standard meta. Now, this part is for interpretation again. I think I remember a story where someone talked about Infi. Infi started to play a lot of random. He used to be identified only as human player, but then he starts playing Night Elf, and Orc, and Undead. And if I recall correctly, Infi feels that you should be able to represent all the races and be seen as a Warcraft player, and not just to be able to be seen as a human player. I believe that was his wish. You can check with him if that was true or not. Firstly,
that's interesting. If his reply is totally actually opposed to the idea, he thinks if he really do represent 4 races equally or fairly, all those fans gonna trash talk on him, no matter which race, because everyone wanna Infi represent for themselves instead of support him. So that's you think this idea is a bit kind of too naive. I mean, he really cannot represent for all the 4 races, and also he said he personally is not able to do that because he is still a human player.
Yeah, the culture among the Warcraft 3 fandom is, I think, a direct result from the long-term one race playing that pretty much everyone did. In the past, we didn't used to play random. And although Infi and TH and now Happy, and I think there is a cup is it the Hobby Cup, where players are forced to play other races? Like, it's starting to happen that people are playing some other races, but that's not the culture that the fans are used to. So they there's a heavy tribalism, which I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just different. Where, yeah, your identity has been so enmeshed with the race that you are famous for.
Okay, so basically for the Hobbit Cup, why the player need to pick the off race is only because the sponsor make the decision. He
Yeah.
gives the money required to watch these games. And then found the situation is most players, their secondary race level is huge different from their prior race. So the game is not as fun as when they play their primary race. So he doesn't think that gonna last very long, but when a specific sponsor are willing to do, it's fine.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. The level may be quite different. So it turns out it's quite difficult to master a race to the level that, you know, many of these top players have leveled it towards. And that is reflective of my personal experience with that as well. But recently we had Age of Empires 4 come out, and I believe some of the Chinese players, I think including TH and Fly, have played AoE 4. I wonder if Infi played AoE 4 and if it appeals to him, the Civ banning system that they have there. AoE 2, AoE 4, you can ban Civs, and everyone is expected to play all the Civs rather than just one race. Does that system appeal to him, and has he played any AoE 4?
Okay, Infi said actually when the game comes out, they played it together on the ladder, but he thinks the micro design, the micro feeling is a bit worse than the Blizzard's game, no matter StarCraft or Warcraft. But with so many races there, it's very interesting to play and it's fun to try. But the negative stuff is it is more imbalanced than Warcraft. The updated patch is very slow, and when he tried to play on ladder, so many Mongolian races there play a couple of in a row, so that's not fun, and that's the main reason he stopped playing.
Understandable and accurate. But you can tell him that Mongols right now is 8 out of 8. They're the worst.
OK，Grubby 说他也同意这个想法，他之前有在玩，但是他想告诉你，现在蒙古已经是一个最差的种族了，应该是排在垫底的。
And what about the pick ban system? Like, if we had more races, he thinks that would be interesting. But something would be lost. Infi was Tower King way back when. He's like a human champion. He has $500,000 in prize money. He's known as a human player that can also play random, but human player first. So Infi was known as a Tower King. He's a legendary human player, and then I'm an Orc player. Other people are known for their race. So even if you go to a pick ban system for Civs, where people are tested on all their races, even if that was possible in Warcraft 3, doesn't he feel like you would lose some of that unique feeling per player?
He will feel extremely bad when someone banned someone's best race. But so that's also why he said it's impossible in current meta. You need to wait for another like 10 years or wait for Warcraft 4. You have more races. People at least can play 2 or 3 more like other games. Then it's possible to import the ban, the pick system.
I see. Okay, let's ask something about balance. If Blizzard finally reached out to us, because we've tried to contact Blizzard after they started doing small little changes a couple of months ago again, and we started hearing from them. If they reach out and say, in StarCraft 2, we did a small community patch where we listened to certain players and casters and streamers, and they made it like 6-7 balance changes. If they reached out to us, would he prefer? Okay, let's put it this way: if they reached out to us, does he think that we can make an advisory team among all the players to advise Blizzard, or does he prefer they just work by themselves?
Okay, so basically to the question itself, Infi thinks the Blizzard balance team should do the balance patch by themselves. Don't listen to any advice from players, streamers, or the community, because like the ones among those recent balance patches, when PTRs come out, the fans of four races try to negotiation with each other, fight each other. It's kind of a mess. Though he doesn't think it's a good situation, so that's why he think the Blizzard should take care of the balance stuff by themselves instead of taking advice from the community. And he also mentioned beside this topic, he says if the Blizzard really want to invest more efforts or money into this game, they need to try to remake or add some new stuff for the game, try to attract more players or make the game a bit different instead of working on the numbers, the small balance. Because no matter what kind of balance you change, always the top players, the several one, gonna get the championship. So no matter what you change, still these players will be the best. So the game patch shouldn't be serve for those pro players. They should be do something to benefit the community players to make them feel fun, or make this game more attractive. So that's what the Blizzard should do.
Really good point. And if Infi wanted to mention one or two big interesting changes for fans to come back to the game or new people to try out the game, what would it be? What race would he pick if we were to get a fifth race?
哦，这个问题，
有点大。
这个问题我要
Okay, so Infi said what he want to make some changes, try to slow down the game path, cause try to let those four races play more late game and try to get some like ultimate units. Current game is very fast path, especially early games where you get some items like claws. Probably the game was over there. So that's what he thinks should make some slightly game change on the, not only for human, just every race should play a bit slower. So make the map a bit larger, increase the distance between the camps and the gold mines. Also, he says currently he's still a streamer, but he streamed less human games really. But his fans always ask him to play humans, but he's not willing to play humans. Not saying human cannot win, but just the procedure is very suffer and the pain. You see lots of peasants keep dying. One wave, second wave, third wave, all dying. But finally you win, but the whole procedure is pretty terrible, so he refused to play this kind of game. So he think if it all the slow down, all the four races gonna maybe can figure out some more strategies there.
I agree with him. You don't have to interpret this, but just to to agree to add my voice to it, I agree with it because when you play human, you're always on the defensive. You follow a very set routine of creeping and defense. And I bet Infi enjoys it when he's harassing as an orc or night elf, since they can be doing harass. That makes a lot of sense. So he didn't say which race he wants to see as fifth, like Naga or Murloc or demons.
Okay, so actually he gonna choose the blood elf. It really looks handsome. That's what his idea in this game.
Cool, blood elf faction, awesome. So Infi, he, as far as I know, he was mostly a streamer, but tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, he's playing in his own organized TP Cup, and his peers, TH and Fly, I think they are his co-organizers. They've already played in their matches, and whereas Fly has been active, TH, as far as I knew, had been more inactive, but he kind of dominated yesterday. So what does he think about that, and what does he expect for his own performance tomorrow?
Okay, so Infi basically for the Fly and TH000 games, it really depends on the talent. So you think some players really do practice thousands of games, but still they just cannot win. But for some players, they just need to do some warm up games. They can find the feeling. That's very tight. It's really depends on the talent, and that's the real life in the competition. No matter in sports, in every industry in this world, that's very realistic. And for himself, he's willing to do some prepare for the match, but it's really hard to find a practice partner and don't know to start to prepare from which part to start the preparation. So probably just wait to the game time and play the match.
Just gonna play the match. Who are his
Yeah.
opponents?
你的对手是哪位选手？你有现在知道吗？
队友是 Sock，还有那个15岁。
Okay, his
还有
opponent is Sock and 15 years old.
15 Sway, right?
Yeah.
And has he decided what race he's gonna play? Is that known?
你有决定好就是玩什么种族吗？就是目前来说，如果不方便可以不说。
我明天的比赛，我可能会用人族、兽族跟不死族，这三个都会使用到，就明天的比赛。
Okay, basically, Infi told us he gonna use human, orc, and undead in tomorrow's games, but no elves.
Oh, cool. Okay, after TP Cup, does Infi have any other plans to organize events and or to join events?
Infi says they're gonna hold the TP Cup. It's a monthly tournament. All of three of them gonna play these cups, but currently no plan to participate other tournaments. Maybe it really depends on the situation, but really gonna join the other tournaments or cups.
Got it. Okay, you can ask if Infi has any questions for me or for the audience. Otherwise, I would like to give you, Nebulas, a chance for some shout-outs as we resume and do this again next time or so.
Okay, so Grubby, the Infi question is pretty interesting. He said almost every time when they are preparing for a tournament or a cup, every time there are fans sending message asking if Grubby gonna participate or not. So he wonders if in the future, is there any chance, let's say, he can ask Sky and you to play a show match as the event in the tournament or the cup? By any chance, you will participate or not?
Against Sky?
Yes.
Okay.
That's because that story that's from long China, because you guys play in WC3 all kind of tournaments, you beat each other. That's everyone mentioned you with Sky, so they really want to watch you play with Sky. So that's how it comes out.
I would like to play against old friend Sky again. I didn't know he was playing again.
Oh, actually, he is streaming on the mobile platform.
And he plays Warcraft 3 again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to make that happen. Yes.
Yes, that's actually Invis mentioned that's gonna be the best benefits for the audience and the viewers. Actually, Sky is playing quite a few games on the mobile streaming platform. So if they have a chance, they really will send invitation to both you and the Sky to make it happen.
Okay. Should be really cool. Yeah, let me know. Any other shout-outs from Infi?
Okay, the Infi says it's pretty pleasure to join the talk here. So he actually wonders if there's any rumors or private news from Grubby that any regarding the new patch or the game update and anything that's not publicly, if you know that.
I can honestly say that I haven't had contact with anyone at Blizzard for more than a year. And despite my best efforts and Back to Warcraft, Although there has been some news that Warcraft 3 is going through some changes now, we've tried to reach out. I've tried to reach out, and I haven't heard anything. So sadly, no, I don't have any new information. But if I do, and I am able to share it, then I'll definitely let him and everyone know.
好吧。
Nebulas, thank you so much for the interpretation. You're actually insane. A lot of love from you in chat for the quality and of the translation and your memory. Shout outs for you?
No, it's my pleasure to do the translation for Two Legends.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Infi, thanks for joining. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Final question. Are you ever going to play 4-on-4 on W3 Champions?
So Infi says he actually do play for every day with Fly and Yumiko, and I found it's pretty much fun in game when blame each other, try to throw the mistake to the teammates, and the audience found it more fun to watch, and probably that's a main direction in the future for the regular players, because they are not competitive in 1 versus 1, but in 4 versus 4 they can find the game, they can win, and they will find some fun.
I'm looking forward to seeing him in 4-on-4. Infi, maybe sometime we play 4-on-4 Warcraft together. Will be fun.
Grubby 邀请你下次一起打4对4。
好的，好的，好的。
Okay, I'll see you there, Infi.
OK， 他说天地上的你，他到时候会送给你 invitation， 邀请函。好，
谢谢 and 再见。
好，谢谢。Thank you, everybody. 再见，再见。See you.
Bye bye. See ya. Thanks, Nebulas.
Bye.
Thanks, Infi.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Awesome. We should have done that a long time ago. That's so cool. Great that Nebulas was able to translate and that Infi was able to join. You know, I discussed the idea with Infi. I realized I had him on a messaging app, and I was like, hey, you know, is this something you'd like to do? Because I'm really wondering what the sentiment is in China about W3 champions and the state of the game and the state of balance and Blizzard and so on, and what Infi's thoughts are about that. And he just answered me, yes, I want. So that's awesome, and we made that work. I messaged him yesterday. He was able to come on immediately today, even though he's got a tournament tomorrow, which, you know, supposedly he could or should be practicing for. So he took time out of his busy schedule to join up with us. Awesome.